Phil Dixon, and of course, I'm a baseball historian coming to you this morning talking about a little baseball. And if you follow me, you know that I do some things called This Day in Black Baseball History. And of course, yesterday I gave a November 14th edition. Now, I ran long yesterday, and so there was one fact I wanted to give yesterday I did not give, but I felt like it's important that I go ahead and give this fact because this is a very important individual. And so, since my broadcast ran 30 minutes yesterday, I said I just better cut it off. But so I want to mention this one guy, and then I'm going to go and I'm going to talk about someone who I interviewed that was a personal good friend of mine from the Negro Leagues who doesn't get a good amount of recognition for all that he did. And so I want to talk about him. But just so happens that both of these men were college men. And so what I want to mention was on November 14th, this would have been yesterday, many years ago, 1903, the Worcester, well, that's Worcester, Ohio, high school football team defeated Central High School of Pittsburgh, the final score being 22-5. And Charles Follis, I want you to remember that name, who would go on to be the first ever African American professional football player, scored a touchdown for Worcester. Okay, and Follis was the team's right halfback. Okay, how many have you ever heard of Charles Follis? I figured that we need to talk about this guy. Now, you know, I talk about people who were also baseball players. So why do you think I'm talking about Charles Follis? Charles Follis also played for the Cuban Giants. Yeah. And interesting thing, so this guy is one of your first multi-sports athletes. Now, he was a catcher in baseball and a running back in football and was very prolific at both. I know I was reading a story or this guy named Bradford. Bradford. He was from Cairo, Illinois. I don't know if you've ever been there. If you get in that area, they call it Cairo. The Cairo is how it looks spelled, as we know Egypt, but they call it Cairo down in that area. Interesting little town, by the way. But I need to stay on track. But I will tell you, I've gone through Cairo, and man, it's like a ghost town. It's almost a town that nobody forgot. A ghost town in America. So go online and look at some pictures of Cairo, Illinois. At one time, it was a very important city, especially during the Civil War, because of where it's located there, right on the river. But it's gone to decay, and generally you can drive through that town and you're in and out of it, but you don't want to stop there because it just looks so dangerous. But people actually live there, and if you come out of Missouri and say you're heading a little part through Illinois and then going into Kentucky, you'll run through this town, Cairo, Illinois. Look it up, guys. I can't make this stuff up. If you know me, I've traveled extensively, and I've been in my car lots of places, and that's one place I went up. Actually, Bruce Petway played baseball there, and they used to have a pretty good baseball team around the turn of the century. But anyway, I digress. Now I need to get back on Mr. Follis. In 1904, he turned professional, and he played with the Cuban Giants. He was playing with the Cuban Giants when he caught pneumonia and passed away in Cleveland, Ohio, and that was in 1910. But he had a great season in 1909 playing with the Cuban Giants. I probably need to put up some totals sometime to just show you, because I spent a lot of time inside these box scores and traveling with these teams physically from Kansas City, not physically, but I want to say historically. So I tracked the box scores and compiled information on interesting players. So Follis was with that team. He was born February 3rd, 1879 in Virginia. So I just want to mention Charles Follis because that's a name. If I go past that date and I go past this guy, I miss a big history plug. The first professional football player. Now we know Bud Fowler was the first African-American professional baseball player. But how many of you ever heard of Charles Follis? He's not a member of the Football Hall of Fame, but Bud Fowler is a member of the Baseball Hall of Fame, and that was in what, 2022, somewhere in there. I was at that induction in Cooperstown. So hopefully one of these days, maybe I can be at a football induction for Follis. Just hope that. Maybe I need to go to work on that. Maybe we need to go to work on that. Make some stuff happen. How about that? All right then. Okay, so now one of the other guys I want to talk about, another college guy. I knew him very well. His name was Julian Bale. Now, if you go online and you look in, say, Wikipedia or maybe Steam Heads or one of these baseball sites, you're going to see Jute Bale. And what's interesting, maybe he was called Jute Bale, but I interviewed him many times. He never mentioned that name, Jute Bale. Never heard of him. But his name was Julian Bale. And I'm probably one of the few people who have an autograph by Julian Bale because I have letters from Julian Bale. And he was quite the academic. And so this is a letter here. Just one of them that he written me years ago. This one is, boy, I'm telling you, this one's probably dated about 1980 something. How about 1988? And so I was one of the early people who was out there doing a lot of really good research on the Negro Leagues. He also sent me this photograph too. That's him at age 17 with the Detroit Stars. At age 17, 1922, playing with Detroit. And of course, that's Julian Bale right there. He sent me some other current pictures of him. I may post one of those here. And that's probably one of the better ones. I do have other ones that are smaller snapshots. And of course, he signed everything he put on the back here. So he signed them. These were some pictures he took when he was at Knoxville College. There's another one, Coach. But they're all signed. So I guess I have numerous autographs of Julian Bale. So, yeah, because he signed them. And so anyway, there's another one. He's with another guy, Julian Bale. So who is Julian Bale? And if you go online, there's not enough about Julian Bale. So I figured that I'll come on and maybe read you a bio that I wrote on Julian that I never published. It was for a book that I was working on, and that book, I never could get anyone to sign me on it. So I never actually produced this bio. And it's better than anything that you see online, all right? And so I'm going to read his bio, but why I'm in here, I'm going to say hello to a few people because maybe some people joined me who never joined me before. There's a Megan Dobson that was there, and I don't know if you're still here, Megan, but thank you for joining. Soccer Cat, Kaya Horseman said hello. Eli Graham, and there's somebody named Ethan. I appreciate that. Say hello. And so anyway, thanks you for joining, guys. So I'm going to read this bio that I wrote on him back in about 1987, 88. And this is more than you will get anywhere else on Julian Bale because it came straight from Julian Bale. All right. Okay, so Julian Bale, his nickname was Schoolboy. He was born May 30th, 1904, and I guess it's Jellio, Jellio, Tennessee. I may be pronouncing that wrong. Maybe somebody can correct me. All right. Of course, he died December 7th, 1991 in Knoxville, Tennessee, which is where he was living when I did this interview. All right. So here's what I wrote. His big league career began when Tenny Blount, owner of the Detroit Stars, sent him $50 and a ticket to Detroit, Michigan in 1923. Bale pitched for the Stars, who were managed by Bruce Petway during the summers of 1923 and 1924. He spent the 1927 and 28 seasons as a member of the Memphis Red Sox, and in 1929 and 1930, he performed with the Birmingham Black Barons. He was right-handed and possessed a tremendous curve. Now, in his academic career, he attended college at Tennessee State, University of Nashville, Tennessee, 1922 to 1928, where he and a teammate, William Lowe, who later played in the Negro National League, were the most outstanding athletes on the campus. Now, I interviewed Professor Lowe, too, in Memphis, and Professor Lowe was the one who told me about Julian Bell. That's how I was able to get Bell's information from Professor Lowe. And we don't talk about Professor Lowe. Professor Lowe was one of the people who found Satchel Paige when he was playing for the Chattanooga Black Lookouts. This is all good history. Okay, so let me go back to where I was. All right then, okay. So Bell taught science and coached basketball at Shelby County Training School in Lucy, Tennessee during the winters of 1928 to 1930. So he was playing baseball and teaching. So he assisted in organizing the Tennessee Negro High School Athletic Association and served as its executive secretary from 1934 to 1942. Then later, the Negro High School Athletic Association based in Gary, Indiana, he started that one, and he served on that as well, 1936 to 1942. And he taught civics and coached at various sports at Booker T. Washington High School in Memphis. Now, Professor Lowe was also at Booker T. Washington High School. And he was there from 1930 to 1942. And while there, he coached baseball and assisted in the development of Verdell Mathis, a future Negro League Memphis Red Sox baseball great, who was attending that high school. And then Bell served as high school principal at Whiteville, Tennessee from 1942 to 1943. Then he went and started to coach at college. So he coached all sports at Fisk University in Nashville, Tennessee between the years of 1946 and 1948. And then Bell served as director of athletics and basketball coach at Lane College. Now that's another HBCU. So you got Fisk and you got Lane College, two HBCUs, in Jackson, Tennessee, 1948 to 1952, and became director of athletics, baseball coach, and physical education department head at Knoxville College, another HBCU, in Knoxville, Tennessee, from 1952 until his retirement in 1973. So you see why he ended up passing away in Knoxville. And then Bell received a master's degree from the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, 1942, and a director's degree from the University of Indiana, Bloomington, in 1956. I've actually been to Bloomington to present. And let's see. The sports-minded educator was inducted into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame in 1977, the SIAC Basketball Hall of Fame in 1982, the Knoxville Boys Club Hall of Fame in 1982, and the Tennessee State University Hall of Fame in 1983. Now, I tell you what, I just read a bio that was helped to be written by the guy who made the history. And so this is the kind of detail that we need to have when we're talking about Negro League baseball players, because when we merged those statistics and they talked about, well, this is going to bring attention to all these players, what they didn't realize is that the people aren't spending the time on certain players. And Julian Bell would be one of those players. And actually, he sent me this too. I have other things too, where when he was at Lane College. He sent me a number of things, and he sent me a number of articles that talked about him. And so anyway, I just want to come on and introduce you to who he was, and so that you guys will know. He actually also sent me his resume. How about that? I have Julian Bell's resume, his job resume, and has all his professional things in here and the dates and everything. And then finally, what I have in this file is a letter, the original letter I sent to him, and I was asking him questions about his career in baseball. And I wanted to know when he was born, what kind of work his parents did, how did you become interested in baseball, tell me a little bit about yourself. And this is the kind of work, guys, that I have been doing for 45 years. Occasionally, it gives me an opportunity to come and tell you about someone that I knew personally. And let me put it this way. There are lots of people who are conducting African American baseball history. There are lots of people who are conducting African American history. They've never lived in an African American community, and they don't network with African American people outside of the people who they're trying to interview. And for me, I have to live this life. And I needed to talk to these people. I needed to visit these people. So when I talk about Professor Lowe, I was at Professor Lowe's house in Memphis and sitting there talking with him. I recorded his interview. Some people I did not get a chance to record, but occasionally I would have my cassette recorder and I would record some of these interviews. And they're just simply fascinating when I look back on them. And I think about the questions I asked, and I really got some great information, but then I think about the questions I did not ask. And I said, oh man, did I miss a golden opportunity? But for the most part, I let them talk, and they talked about what they wanted to talk about, and that was fine with me. So guys, today we learned a little bit about Charles Follis. Follis, Follis, Charles, first name. And then Julian Bale. I don't know if I have Julian's, do I have his middle name here? Let me see if I have his middle name here. That might help. No, I just have Julian Bale. So, guys, hopefully this has been helpful to you. And if you like what I'm doing here, guys, go ahead and subscribe and share these broadcasts. I'm having a good time here educating. And we go to school every day in this website. All right? And this, we say YouTube. This YouTube broadcast. So I want to thank you for joining, and this is early Saturday morning, and I think we have a nice day in Kansas City, so I'm going to go out and do some walking, and got to put up some Christmas lights, believe it or not. So thank you guys, and I am out of here for now. I will be back with another edition of This Day in Black Baseball History. That would be my November 15th. 2025 edition of This Day in History. Got some good stuff, man. I'm telling you, got some excellent history that you want to know. And history is power. Power. Knowledge is power. Education is power. And if you're looking for all of that, you're in the right place. Thank you, guys. I'll be back, and we'll continue this conversation every day until we make sure these men get to be known. You have a nice day. Bye.